Welcome to the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage, where rude mechanicals do magic. Hello, I'm Bronze Age, Director of the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage. And today we're at the BF bench where we're going to make a small repair on a small table. This little table is made of oak, which has been stained to resemble mahogany. That was very common. The age, a little hard to determine, anything from the late 40s into the 50s. The joints where the table frame meets the legs are put together with dowel joints. Now a dowel joint is one step above a butt joint, which is where you just take the end of the wood, stick it against the side of another piece of wood, glue it together, or sometimes staples or nails across there, but inherently weak. One step above the butt joint is the dowel joint, where you drill holes in both pieces, put little dowels in there, and stick them together. And when you glue it, that gives you a pretty good bit of surface area for the glue to stick to, and it resists twisting, and it's a fairly joint as far as that goes. On our failed part here, you can actually see what remains of the dowel stuck in the leg. And you can also see some residue of glue, which indicates that we have run up on the bane of all furniture repair, which is the previous repair. Whoever tried to fix this didn't feel up to drilling the dowels out and figuring out some way to stick this thing in between the two legs. So they came up with a fairly clever solution. Apparently they took a nail, cut the head off of it, drove it in to the stretcher here, and then pulled the legs apart and stuck the whole thing together with a dab of glue on the end of it. I don't know how long ago this was done, but it seemed to have worked for quite a while. Now let's see if we can get this thing out without too much trouble. There we go. And just as I said, got a nail with 2 points. Now I'm not going to try to replace the dowels. There's really no practical way to get in between the legs here and drill the holes out. But before I do anything, I'm going to run a rare earth magnet all over this. Make sure somebody didn't come back after they did the first repair and drive a nail into it to try and get it a little more tight. Now the technique I'm going to use goes by various names, sometimes called a domino, sometimes called a biscuit. Basically what I'm going to do is cut a slot in each piece and install a little splint to hold it together. And that's what brings us to the CAB router table. I have a 1/4-inch rabbiting bit which has a guide bearing on it. The guide bearing will set the depth that the groove will be. As for the height or the distance from the edge to here, that's controlled by how high the bit is out of the table. Now that means that I have to get this piece of wood oriented the same way that the chair is going to be, and I can only put the chair with the inside up. So I've marked chalk on both ends here so that I don't get this thing backwards and then end up with a stretcher that's going to be out of line with the chair leg. And now for the most important part of any job that involves glue, the dry fit. Now domino joints are called dominoes because they're rectangular. Biscuit joints are called biscuits because they're round. I call this a fish. I've got a 1 1/4 radius circle in here, but it only goes 3/8 deep. So I've got to make 2 1 1/4 circles, but only 3/4 of an inch wide. And that looks pretty good. Now all I got to do is cut out another fish, check it for a dry fit one more time, glue it together, and then come back in the morning and take the clamps off. Now when I first saw this, I thought it was oak, but after running it through the router, I realized this is walnut. It's been stained to look like mahogany. That was a very common thing in American furniture going back to the 1800s. But this little table, however old it is ready to go back home. So, this is Bronze Age, Director of the Secret Underground Laboratory, Recovery and Salvage. Thank you for watching this video. Would really appreciate if you would like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, you know where to put them. I answer all comments and I do appreciate them all. So, again, thank you.